elaborate on this real quick and chop it up with the good people. So, I've been seeing what's going on with the homie Conrad, Mile High Hustle, you know what I'm saying, Box State Baby, original Denver Goon. And I came across this situation on YouTube because, you know, he's the homie and I seen some fool was hating on him. And yesterday he did a live and he kind of gave the backstory. So yeah, he was like, maybe you could elaborate a little bit more because pretty much, you know what I'm saying, with the politics I was in, people would say, hey, you rode with a black gang in DOC. Now, first and foremost, let me say this. What's up, Bracket? What's Gucci, bro? First and foremost, let me say this. Anybody outside of Colorado doesn't really have any valid points on Colorado systems, right? Anybody that's outside of the box state and you haven't been to Colorado, bro, you can't really speak on anything that goes on in Colorado. You don't really know. You're just talking from, you must have heard something from people that gave you some insight, but none of that shit's true. Now, the reason why the homie asked me to speak on a little bit is because I'm a Crip, I'm Spanish, I look güerito, I hit DOC, and I stay true to my politic because that was me. I was not gonna become another organization or none of that. Plus, I was probably a young homie that hit the DOC, and nobody really gave me the rundown of how DOC really is. So I just stayed true to who I was, a Kiwi. And I did almost 8 years on the yard with the Lokes, full-fledged for cripping. So I want to say this because I seen a little post, and I don't really know the fool, but first and foremost, homie, he said, when you get to DOC, you have to ride with your race. Now, that's a common thing, really, you know what I'm saying? That's a common thing that fools in their minds for the most better of programming and pretty much to be safe in DOC, they're going to ride with their homies. They're going to ride with their race, right? They're going to ride with their ethnic group for sure. But it's a choice. You don't have to. You know what I'm saying? It's a choice. It's not, somebody is just not making you do that. Now, you have choices, and if you decide to ride with your politics, of course you're going to have a target on your back, but we sign up for that shit, right? You're going to have a target on your back in the streets. We sign up for it. Now, my opinion on the thing is, if you ride with the GDs, right, which he's a GD on the streets, and then he goes to prison, he rides with the Y boys, and then you get back out to the streets, and then you're riding with the GDs again, that's kind of, you know, you kind of a fraudulent person if you didn't stay true to your roots. If you didn't stay true to your tribe, that's more fraudulent than somebody really that was not even from really a gang and really just tapped in with the gang like that, and then he goes and finds his tribe in the penitentiary. What you did was kind of some faulty fake shit, like some scary shit. You seen what prison was, and then you turned your back on your GD homies. That don't get no respect. There's no respect in that shit because it just shows you were scared of your environment. It wasn't really in you. Now, if you really banging, homie, I know fools that are in California DOC, white, right? And they were straight white. Snow Rock. That motherfucker was a knockout artist, homie. He stayed true to his roots in the penitentiary. So I hate when people say, oh, you have to do something. You don't gotta do shit. You can motherfucking man up and you can actually ride for what you believe and who you are. But most people, they just see what the rules are in prison and they break weak to that shit. Most fools will see the prison yard is talking about, oh, you're a race trader, so a lot of fools get scared to that shit. A lot of fools break. They don't stay true to their self and represent their politics because they're scared of what the prison yard brings, bro. Now, the thing with the homie, I'll say it like this, homie. The LPPs, right? They were actually formed for a brotherhood, homie. Like, they were formed for a brotherhood. That's the reason why the LPPs formed. Now, the homie that's an OG on here, Conrad, he hit the prison yard and he kept it thorough to the LPPs. And LPPs have a bad name, but not every single member of the LPPs was no goods, bro. Like there was some solid foods that kept it 100 with that shit. And some of them foods they didn't partake in what their homies did or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They kept it thorough. And the homie Conrad, he has a good name through the system. He kept it thorough. And honestly, he left the prison shit alone. That's the bad part about the fool that they're talking about. This fool, he went from the streets to prison and politics, a whole different thing because the white boys told him he had to. He got back out and started messing with the GDs. That's fraudulent all the way across the board. That's fraudulent all the way across the board. And you're not even from Colorado to speak on that shit. You can't speak on it. You're not from our system. You don't know what goes on out here, so you can't speak on none of that shit. What I see with these dudes, bro, like when they start saying, you have to, you got to do this, and it's because you're race and this and that. You're not. First and foremost, homie, some of these states ain't even sanctioned with the race shit, bro. You go to the East Coast, it's not like that, bro. Like fools are not just on the racial aspect, and where you're from, that's not how it goes, bro. That's more of a West Coast thing that fools are on some racial shit. And when I hear these fools say you have to, you don't got to do nothing. You have choices, bro. You have choices in life of what you're going to do. Even when you get to the system, even when you get to the prison system, you got choices about what you're going to do. Now, there's a lot of fools that don't agree with that shit, right? There's a lot of fools that just don't like that aspect of if a fool stays thorough to his politics, bro. But who are you? Like, I don't be getting these fools, bro, that they let all this aspect and get dictated by what the environment is, homie. So prison, bro, like these fools become a whole different person. You know you wasn't racial on the streets. You know you wasn't racist. You got homies that are from the hood. But these fools be breaking so much in the prison system that you see what they really are, bro. You see that these fools is really, really not that. And when you putting that shit out there and you trying to assassinate somebody's character and put a jacket on somebody, bro, you're in the wrong for that shit. Because in the prison system, everybody knows that's the first rule. You don't put a jacket on somebody without paperwork. You can't just say a fool's a dropout, homie, if you don't really know what you're talking about. Where's the paperwork that says this shit? And that's why, like, when the homie had asked me to talk about this shit, I looked at what the scenario was. And I started laughing because it's like, homie, you're talking about DOC out here in Colorado. You're talking about the box state, baby. You're talking about some politics that you never been a part of. And you're talking about the homie that's from Colorado. And then I see the story, homie, and you used to bang Gangsta Disciples, bro, from Minnesota. You bang that shit your whole life. You got music out there on video, and then you went to prison and the white boys told you that you have to denounce the GD, but you were still writing GD, and then you got out after chilling with all the white fools for so long. You got out and you started banging GD. You got to look at that shit and look at how fraudulent that shit is. That's not honorable at all. You didn't even keep it thorough to yourself. You didn't keep it thorough to yourself. You didn't keep it 100 on your own politics because you turned your back on the GDs to ride with the white boys. Because you got scared of that shit. You got scared of that shit. You got scared of that shit. You seen what the outcome is. You seen what the situation was, and you couldn't handle the heat because it was never inside of you. That is 10 times more fraudulent than somebody that literally don't have smut on his name, finding his tribe and having a good report card all across the board. He didn't get out back to the politics. He didn't get back out to the streets. He got back out trying to do good work for the environment and teach. Not everybody's story is the same, bro. Not everybody's story is the same. Not everybody's journey is the same. But we got to keep it real with what this shit is and what it is. You have decisions, and you have decisions when you're in a situation, homie. You have decisions. If you're a part of a politic, you got a decision. Are you going to ride the main line, bro? And I don't even know how Minnesota is and all that shit. I don't know how their programming is. But out in the West Coast, out here in the West Coast, homie, you have a decision. It's not you have to. It's about, are you going to? And are you going to define who you are and ride for who you believe? Are you going to break for these fools that tell you what you have to do? I was never going to do that. People could say it's wrong or not, but I was never going to be that person where a fool dictated what was going on the yard with me. Because what do I look like, bro? What do I look like? Breaking for these fools that literally don't believe in what I believe in? I got homies and family that are from the neighborhood, bro. Generational to this shit. Generational with this shit. I mean, do you know what generational means? It means third generation of fools that came before me. What do I look like getting on a prison yard? And because these fools say they're going to apply pressure and they're tripping, what does it look like? Me backstabbing my tribe, bro? I couldn't do it. I couldn't be that person. So race traitor or not, you have decisions. You're going to either ride and be a solid fool and get off on fools that don't like that, or you're going to break weak and become something you're totally not. Because what I catch with these dudes, they are never racist in the streets, but they get to prison and then you see these fools with a lightning bolt. And then they get back out to the streets and they're messing with all kinds of minorities. That shit is kind of lame. You look in the mirror, you know you abroad. You know you have some fraudulent shit. You're not solid to yourself. You're not solid and you're not certified in 100 to yourself because you're abroad. Yeah, you really have some broad tendencies. And I don't even know the dude, but the homie told me to speak up on this. And then I looked into the story and I looked at the situation, and you betrayed your homies because these white boys told you had to ride for them dudes. Shout out to the real white boys, though. Shout out to the Woods. Shout out to the AMPs, the ABs, the 211s. All them fools are some solid ass fools. But fools like that, you know, if he didn't have them traits on the streets and that's not how he grew up, and he was chilling with the black fools and he's chilling with the GDs and he's in the streets with these fools, you know he's not racist. So he's portraying to be racist because prison told him he had to be. And that's such a terrible look. It's such a terrible look to have to switch up who you are. You can't even look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm authentic at least. Fools might not agree with this shit, but at least I keep it thorough to myself. At least I'm 100 to myself. Fools can't even be 100 to their self. Hell yeah, man, I'm hungry. Fools just can't keep it 100 to their self. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no authenticness in these dudes, bro. That's why I say with this YouTube shit, fools always speaking on some. Hold on real quick. Y'all don't go nowhere, man. I gotta go pay this shit, and y'all can stay in tune, but I got an appointment. I'm already late for the date. Let me see. With us, Santiago's, I need some chubbies and some green chili too, man. Mall high salute. But yeah, the moral of the story is, man, you got to keep it solid to yourself, bro. You got to keep it 100 to yourself. Fools be joining this shit to be a part of something, bro. Don't even know what they joining and don't even have it to stand on their tans, bro. I'm gonna tap right back into it after I get out this appointment. Y'all be cool.